Now we'll talk about what can be done to facilitate the teaching and learning of pragmatic competence in formal settings or in classrooms. The research has shown us that usually the teachers of second language do not take enough pain to teach their students the pragmatic norms of that language. Therefore, they always remain deficient in the learning of pragmatic aspects of the language. And based on this, they hardly become the proficient speakers or proficient users of that language in social settings. In this regard, it may be suggested that the training of teachers abroad, especially in those countries where that second language is taught as a first language, or where that language is the native language, could be useful. Foreign exposure would help teachers to learn the pragmatic norms themselves, which can they later on transfer to their students also. There is an urgent need to raise the awareness of about the value of pragmatic competence in the overall learning scheme of a language. We need to make our teachers aware that teaching pragmatic norms would probably help their learners become proficient not only in their linguistic repertoire but also in becoming useful users of that language. They could contribute to themselves, their personality, as well as to their society also. Therefore, they can be guided about the selection of materials, the choice of activities, and the importance of pragmatic competence within their classroom. As a next step or natural step, when teachers themselves would know the importance of such competence, they would also make their students aware of the importance of pragmatic competence. For example, the skills in primary language and culture to help them become more capable of understanding and enacting pragmatic meanings in the target language. Teachers may be guided to use the local norms also in order to train their students in the values and norms of second language. Teachers can organize in this regard some interactive sessions of their students in which they could introduce them to, or they could make them confront certain social situations in which they will have to interact in the second language. And there, through direct and indirect way, they could transfer the knowledge about pragmatic norms. They can teach communication in general and use of formulaic routines, speech acts, and social dimensions of communication, and that would obviously help their students develop their overall pragmatic learning. Teachers should also add examples from everyday life, such as how shopkeepers and medical personnel use language during their performance of duties and other aspects. The teacher can engage their learners in doing some kind of field work in which they interact with people in their community and know the real use of the language. Teachers and students together can develop a kind of discussion on diversity, on difference, on knowing each other and helping and respecting the diversity within their own ranks. In this regard, they can also promote non-deficit view of self and others. And the students can collect examples from their interaction with the people in general, as well as from the media, including social media. The learners can be taught to develop their own materials, and while developing their own materials, they will be able to develop some kind of pragmatic norms also. For example, they could create a lesson to teach how to apologize in various social situations. Sometimes there could be situations of minor nature, which would be not that serious, and could be situations which are genuinely serious. So students may be asked to develop their own strategy of seeking apology in the second language in such situations. Pragmatic competence can also be taught by asking the learners to translate directly a speech act from their L1 to L2, from their mother tongue to the target language. In this regard, or in this way, the students will not only be able to develop their pragmatic competence, but they would also be able to know the difficulties of providing translation equivalents, which involve a lot of social and cultural elements. So students would be put to a slightly challenging task, and in this way, while their quest to perform that task, they would be able to develop their pragmatic knowledge. Cross-cultural values and practices may become more transparent in the course of such activities. Such exercises and activities within the classroom would definitely help our students develop their pragmatic competence in not only their local languages, but also in the target languages.